I thought my chimney was big, but this one is beyond belief.
It's the least one can say. I've been longing for a warm fire for ages.
Since I set foot on the island, I haven't ventured more than 2 yards away from it.
Have you also just arrived?
Oh, late morning, I'd say.
Louis, come join us. Monsieur, may I introduce you to Monseigneur His Eminence, Cardinal Piaggi. He joins us straight from Rome.
Oh, just call me Your Eminence. It's simpler.
George Washington, President of the United States of America.
Delighted at last to make your acquaintance, Mr. President.
Pleased to meet you, Mr. President. Louis Moras de Richet. It is an honor to meet you.
Young man, let's keep it simple, please. Let us forget our fancy titles. Nice to meet you, Louis.
I should imagine you never thought you'd be in such company.
I must admit that I didn't. It's the first time that I've ever met so many illustrious personalities.
And you haven't seen anything yet. Generally, when Lord Mortimer organizes one of his receptions, there are over a dozen people here.
They can't all be here yet, and you'll see, most of the time there's only the upper crust.
And I noticed, what were you talking?
Believe me, she's not that special. His Eminence was asking me for my opinion about the style of the main door. I have to admit, this place certainly doesn't lack panache.
It's simply stupefying.
Oh, pity. No scrumptious gossip or juicy tidbits, unmentionable secrets, or even money matters. But you'll see, it will come. Despite all the goodwill in the world, you can't stop people scheming left and right around here.
Speak for yourself, sir.
Well, my friends, do any of you know the reason why we're here this time?
Not in the slightest. As for me, I've been invited by Sir Holm, a close friend of Lord Mortimer, but I do not know the reason why.
You see, Louis, every time Lord Mortimer organizes a reception, he always finds a moment to set up a chat with all the guests.
During which time we remake the world.
Accompanied by gallons of absinthe and cussing. I'll leave you to imagine the result.
So, if I understand rightly, Monsieur de Richet, you've come out here to join your mother. For what reason, exactly?
Like you, Mr. President, I'm here as a result of Lord Mortimer's invitation.
2 members of the same family here.
You know what they say. You can pick your nose, but you can't...
Seriously, though, I know your mother well. Stay behind with me after...
Good Lord. Washington is wearing the emblem of...
An urgent case has delayed our host, Lord Mortimer. He can't be present this evening, and he sends his deepest apologies.
He's asked me here and he hasn't even turned up? Great start. Do you know that man?
Sir Gregory Holm, an English aristocrat. Very influential. He's also close to Lord Mortimer. So don't be surprised if he acts like he's at home.
And now, my dear guests, a light meal is served in the small salon. For those who would like to, you're invited to follow me into the next room.
My dear fellow, you must have read my thoughts. I shall follow.
We'll have to be careful not to make too much noise. One of Lord Mortimer's guests is relaxing.
Oh, we shall be quiet.
Don't take it the wrong way, Sir Holm, but I have already eaten. Thus, I shall be happy to remain by the fireside.
If you don't mind, Gregory, I should like to keep Mr. Washington company.
Please feel at home. And you, sir?
If I stay with Washington, we'll be able to speak about my mother. But on the other hand, I'd like to learn more about this Holm. I saw him in my vision. My vision is more important. Let's follow Holm.
I'll follow you, sir. Mr. Washington, I hope to speak with you at greater length on another occasion. Emily, please excuse me, but I would like to speak to Sir Holm. I shall see you later.
My friend, I hope our dear Giovanni is well.
The troubles in France have fatigued him, but he will recover slowly. Do not fear. He apologizes for remaining in Rome. The voyage was too much for him.
And right he was, too. The mildness of the Mediterranean, eh?
Giovanni Braschi? Am I dreaming, or are they talking about Pope Pius VI?
Come, sit down and have something to eat, my friend. You look rather pale. Excuse me, sir. I have been neglecting my duty. I haven't introduced myself. Sir Gregory Holm, an old friend of Lord Mortimer's.
A real pleasure, sir.
You who must be well used to the court of France. How do you find this peaceful little haven?
Charming if I hadn't come here for disturbing reasons.
Yes, I heard the news. What a story.
Indeed. I wanted to ask you. Would you have any information about the disappearance of my mother?
Very little, I'm afraid, my young friend. Your mother came at the invitation of Lord Mortimer. Then, one fine day, we couldn't find her anywhere.
That's it?
As I said, I don't know very much. Lord Mortimer had the entire area searched immediately. We found no clue as to her disappearance. But I am convinced that as soon as Lord Mortimer becomes available, he will explain the situation.
Thank you for your answers, Sir Holm. But I beg your pardon. I get the impression I know you. Have we met?
Except in my dreams, of course.
Not that I remember, young man. Perhaps you're mistaking me for another member of the Chamber of Lords. And what with the wig and the powder, it wouldn't be the first time.
No, you were definitely the one I saw threatening my mother.
I thought... Never mind. It'll come back to me. Would you allow me one last question, sir? I don't want to take up all your time.
Please, go ahead. What do you want to know?
Sir, do you know Emily Hillsborough?
Oh, Madame la Duchesse. Of course. It was I who invited her to the island.
Do you know of any link between her and my mother?
Not really, no. They may well have met at the court of King George, but I can't be sure about that.
No dispute between them, then?
Not to my knowledge, no.
And even if Duchess Hillsborough is a complex woman to understand, I honestly can't imagine her in a conflict with the famous Sara de Ricci.
No!
Elizabeth! I should have insisted that you rest in your room.
Do you want me to call someone?
Let me handle this. I'm used to this kind of thing.
Thank you, Mr. Duché.
Miss, can you hear me?
Leave me.
Stand back, please, so she can breathe.
Elizabeth is accustomed to this kind of thing.
It looks like it's just a dizzy spell. Can you tell me something about her? Who is this young lady?
Elizabeth Adams. She's come to the island for a course of treatment, to rest.
For a course of treatment?
That's right. The sea air can do wonders. Are you all right, Elizabeth? Do you feel any better?
When did she arrive?
4 days ago.
Okay. My mother had already gone missing.
Are you all right, Elizabeth? You gave us quite a fright.
Take it easy, miss.
Let me... I just need to get back to my room.
Of course, my dear. Go ahead.
You saw it, didn't you?
Pardon me?
I segni della bestia.
The sign of the beast. He's referring to the tattoo on her hand.
Yes, Your Eminence, I saw it. I don't know what the young woman has been through, but she is marked for life.
It is the least one can say. You know the meaning, don't you?
Protection against the evil one.
It is a rare practice reserved for cases of possession, Louis. I have seen it during exorcism.
Gentlemen, it's getting late. It is time for everyone to go to bed. It has been a long day.
It's all the more delicate.
I'll see what I can do, but the case I'm on at the moment might well leave me with very few opportunities. Well, I am impressed with all this splendor.
But don't spend too much time with Mr. Washington, my dear, or you'll lose your pretty accent. You seem to be intrigued by that statue.
Absolutely. It is remarkable.
Lord Mortimer is fond of atypical works of art. I won't disguise the fact that I find it all a little megalomaniacal. But I must say, he does have some outstanding pieces.
Sir Holm, who was that young lady with you?
Elizabeth Adams, Mr. President. She would have liked to have stayed with us, but the poor thing is exhausted.
Elizabeth Adams?
Miss Adams is here to rest. You have perhaps already come across her in the corridors. She arrived a few days ago.
I perceived her, but we weren't introduced.
Rest assured, she is not here for the same reasons as yourselves. Consequently, I'm counting on your indulgence. On that note, it's very late. You must be exhausted. The servant will accompany you to your rooms.